Today's webinar is all about our Costa Rica Eco Adventure that takes place from January 20th to February 1st of 2024. Just a couple of words about Wheel and Anchor for those of you who are new, and I do see some names, a bunch of names that I am not familiar with. We are a travel community. We consist of members from all across Canada. And the vision that we had when we started this organization was all about, the friendly faces and most importantly, the like-minded attitude of Canadian travelers. We have a certain, and I get lots of comments of late about our traveler's creed that you would have gotten in the email when you joined us, about, all about having a soft touch and all about really expanding your learning, your knowledge, respect for local traditions and cultures, and, trying things out. And, these are the things that I think true travelers share. And when we get together and share those all in a small group, we have so much more fulfilling experience. And that is the motivation behind Wheel and Anchor and what we're up to. And of course, coupled with that is becoming well-traveled. As I say time and time again, and as what people who will have been with Martine in Costa Rica in the last couple of weeks will attest, or those who are with me here in Thailand, it sometimes means taking a little bit more time, really breathing in that air, smelling the roses, if you will. And when you do that with these other like-minded people, you invariably create some wonderful new connections and friendships and relationships that you will have and cherish and be able to reflect back on those fun travel times. So that's what our goal is here at Wheel and Anchor. Today, joining me on the webinar, my name is Gordon. I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor, and I'm joined today by Barb, who is one of our trip specialists, and Paula, who's not joining us today. She just actually left here 10 minutes ago, is here with me hosting on our trip in Thailand, and Martine Rasset. Martine, welcome. Thanks. Nice to have you back. And I'm so excited to hear about all your stories from Costa Rica.
We have a lot. We have a lot of good ones. I look forward to sharing. Okay,
great. And today we are going to take you on a little digital journey through Costa Rica, through this incredible biodiverse country. I am going to be your guide, but actually Martine is going to do most of the talking because she just been there and has all these amazing stories to share about our adventure from this year. Why don't we start off by, I'm going to show a couple of pictures. This is the group that just came back. The picture was taken recently. How did it go exactly?
Oh, it went well. One's missing in that picture. She was not super comfortable being out closer to the edge there. You'll see her in another photo. It was such a great group. What I love is about Wheel and Anchor is often we have smaller groups, not huge groups, right? So we're really able to delve deep into the places we visit and not step too harshly on the places we visit. So had a great
exactly. And you guys were up in the rainforest, and we're going to go into the itinerary in just a second. And you had a boat trip here, you had great weather. How did people respond to Costa Rica? I mean, a lot of Canadians think of Costa Rica as a place you go to the beach. You go to Tamarindo and big sandy beaches, the rest of it. But this is not what this trip is about, obviously.
No, basically, Costa Rica is more than anything about wildlife and about its nature, its primary nature. And so this trip is actually quite unique to Wheel and Anchor. We're the only travel company in the world offering this exact kind of scenario, which is doing these 3 specific spots in these 3 specific hotels. So you won't find that anywhere else, which is very, very special. And basically we really delve into these environments. So you're gonna, you have to be pretty adventurous to do this, but at the same time, it's accessible to everyone. If you do have some mobility issues, we work with that. It's not a problem, but it's definitely something where you need to have a spirit of adventure that needs to come with you, and just open to trying new things. Every single person on this trip was sad to leave, which is always a good thing, right? You don't want people ready to go. You want people ready to stay. And that's what we had. Yeah, especially if you guys had a snowstorm. Everyone just wanted to stay.
Yeah, exactly. No kidding. Yeah, with the weather back, you just want to stick around.
Exactly. So some of these photos are just really giving you a feeling of like we're really immersed within nature. This is up at Luna Lodge. We're really within the rainforest canopy, and it's just a magical experience for all of your senses. It's really special. So
I can well imagine. And so looking at the map, we'll just go through the brief overview. Of course, program begins and ends in San Jose, which is of course the capital of Costa Rica and the principal airport that you fly into. And from there, the first couple of stops are up in the cloud forest. It's cloud forest, right?
Yeah, it's cloud forest. It's 1% of the global, land mass is cloud forest, only 1%, and it's actually disappearing. So this is the time for you to come see it, folks. So San Jose, we won't be spending much time there. If anybody does want to arrive earlier, you certainly can. But, San Jose doesn't have the same kind of history as other Central American countries. So it's not exactly something that, I would recommend highly. It's something that you definitely, if you're curious, you want to see it, definitely do that. But we're going to be arriving in San Jose and right away following basically the divide, the continental divide, heading up into one of the highest points in the country that's accessible by car. That's where we're going to be going. And in this area, it's just incredible. We're going to talk more about that. And then do you want me to continue explaining what we're doing, or
exactly. Just to overview where we are on the map, like where we're going to go over the 12 nights on this trip?
Yeah, so the red stars where we start, we head to Savegre Lodge, which is about a 2.5-hour drive from San Jose, going up, and then we come a little bit down and then up again into LOUDBRIDGE Nature Reserve, which in altitude is lower than Savegre, so much warmer. So we're going to start in cooler climate, going into warmer, and then going right at the rainforest all the way down into the Golfo Dulce, Corcovado National Park, which is considered the crown jewel of all national parks. And you'll find out why. The amount of wildlife in this area is incredible. And this is where we're going to basically end our trip for 5 nights and fully immersed in this warm tropical environment, but also very breezy and comfortable. No one complained of heat, especially in the evenings. That's where people are more concerned. And we will be giving you tips on how to, keep cool. And then from there, we fly back actually to San Jose, which the flight is 45 minutes. And it's actually part of the escape because you're going to be seeing things like the whale's tail. You'll be seeing things like mangroves and things. So the flight is actually part of the adventure. And then you're going to end there. So it's a whole 12 nights, 13 days of fun. And as you can see, as your hostess, I'm all about fun and also just really being in the moment, because a lot of times we live in the future, we live in the past, but we don't live in the now. So this trip really will bring you in the now and surround you with this incredible nature.
Indeed. And the green marks there is we do have an optional extension program for those who do want to tack on a few extra days up to a beautiful resort. I've been there myself and really have enjoyed Manuel Antonio. That's a little bit further up the coast there. So, but we'll touch on all that in a minute, and let us now briefly go through the program just so you get a sense of what the highlights are of this program as we go through. And Martine, just touch on what it is that makes each day special. I mean, obviously when we arrive in San Jose, as you said, it's not the most fascinating city. However, it is the gateway to all of these places.
It is the gateway. It is the gateway. So for those of you who arrive earlier, for example, with your flight, you're able to go into the city and enjoy some of that. The main downtown, where you'll have the Gold Museum, the Jade Museum, the National Theater, for example. These are things, even the markets, so there is something to say about San Jose proper. It's not somewhere you want to stay 5 nights though, So right. From there, we move on and we head to Savegre Lodge, which is about 7,000 feet above sea level. So it is pretty cool up there. In fact, you're going to need to bring, I always say, bring a puffy jacket, one of those warm puffy jackets that fold up really tight and are not heavy. And you'll be perfectly fine with that. And essentially, we're surrounded by this incredible environment in San Gerardo de Dota, which is one of the most important spots in the country to see the resplendent quetzals. I don't know if you've ever heard of quetzals. We're going to see a photo next. If you want to move forward, I think we might see one coming up in a few slides. Basically, we're going to be immersed into this incredible nature. The food there is fantastic. It's amazing. They even have a little bird watching area where they feed birds. And so you can just sit there and watch all these birds come to you. I don't know how many birders do we have? Raise your hand. I want to see how many birders we have interested. But this is definitely where we're going to be already introduced to the cloud forest and the resplendent quetzal, which you should see again in a few slides, which is in the Trogon family. There you're going to have a bird, an expert birder that's going to be joining you for that tour. So as we go along, we'll have experts following us in certain areas, but the whole way through, I'll be your host. So you'll never be wondering where you're going next, and you can just really be in the now. Mhm.
Yeah, say a couple of words about just the lodge itself, just so people get a
Yeah.
sense of what we're talking about. Because these aren't like luxury beach resorts, right? These are purpose-built lodges in the cloud forest.
Exactly. So first of all, this is a family, Costa Rican family-owned run business. It's going to turn 50 years next year. They've basically revamped the whole place. It's incredible, beautiful accommodations. Well, beautiful, basically accommodations in terms of the whole around, but it's still very rustic. You know, we're very comfortable beds, hot showers. That's always important if it's a little cooler. And it's really just a lodge. You're going to be supporting a local family. And when you come on the tour, I'll tell you a lot more about the family, how they got there, how San Gerardo de Dota got their name, what really is sort of the main attractions there. But just to give you an overall look, it just is a place that is just comfortable and just a place where you can really immerse yourself into this incredible landscape without, you know, with a lot of comfort.
And
So
a
the
perfect,
uh-huh.
these lodges are really ideally suited for the kind of adventure that we're going on. They give you enough comfort, but they're not, they're not like 5-star resorts. It's not what you want in the
Exactly.
rainforest.
But I have to say the massaging in every one of them is incredible. So the spas are really great if you want to treat yourself. This is the Quetzal here, again, in the Trogon family. So the goal is to see these Quetzals. It's not a promise, obviously, because we don't control them, but at the time of year that you're going to go, this is a great time of year. They migrate in altitudes, not going north to south, they're going in altitude. So at that time of year, they're very close to the lodge and they're eating what we call aguacatillos, which are little like avocados essentially. So, and it's at that time of year it's prime time to see these guys. Yeah.
It's a spectacular looking bird, and that's the main goal at Savegre. But of course, I'm sure there's lots of other bird life up.
Lots of other things. We're going to be doing a really great hike as well. So we won't go too deep into all the itinerary here, but if you go back to the itinerary and look, you'll see everything we're going to do. So we're going to be hiking. And again, the hikes are all accessible. So you don't have to worry, you're concerned. Yeah.
Exactly. So you get 2 days up there at Savegre. And then, as you say, you go up and then you go down.
That's right. So we have to go up to the highest point in the country accessible by car. And then we start heading down towards San Gerardo, which is basically San Isidro, another place that we call. And it's the second biggest, basically city in San Jose. We cross that and then go back up into the Chiripo area. So Chiripo Mountain is the highest peak in all of Costa Rica, the second highest in Central America. We're going to be at the base of that in basically paradise. I don't like to call anything paradise, but this is pretty close to it.
I do.
And everyone who went there was like, what? This is so amazing. So, you'll see it for yourself when you're there. This is called Chiripo Lodge, and it's basically a lodge that's, again, fully immersed within the forest. It has a beautiful river that crosses the property called Rio Chiripo River. We'll see in a second. Beautiful facilities, pools, hot tubs. We even have a cedar hot tub by the river. And here we're going to do so many great things. We're going to be going to LOUDBRIDGE Reserve. We're going to be seeing the secret gardens. Here's the river. We'll be doing a spa treatment by the river as well. So all of these different things. So there's a lot of space for you to be involved or also have your free time. So this is what's great. It's a good balance. And the food here is an experience. They have the best breakfast I've ever seen in any hotel, and I've traveled extensively. So you'll be very impressed with the food.
Yeah, that's a lot to say out here in the middle of the cloud forest in Costa Rica. But
Right?
again,
Exactly.
super comfy accommodations, right? That offer you everything.
These are our standard rooms, which are really lovely. You can also choose to upgrade to some of our individual cabins or our deluxe rooms, we call them. So there's room for upgrading here if you'd like, but honestly, just even our standard rooms are so comfortable. We spend very little times indoor. We're outdoors. We're living without walls most of the time, which is really great. So
that's this kind of trip is all about. And so from here, there are a couple of highlights that we want to mention that we're going to be seeing there. You mentioned the secret gardens.
Yes, the secret gardens it's a secret. Can't tell you too much about it now, but no, it's basically a collection. It's a collection of tropical flowers and plants. So if you're someone who's more into, this kind of, the flora and fauna is one thing, but if you're into flowers, if you're into just delving into the the ecology of everything, this is where we're going to do a really fun tour, and you're going to meet an interesting character who owns this place as well. So it's a lot of fun. It's very close to the lodge. We're also going to be going to LOUDBRIDGE Reserve. LOUDBRIDGE is a private reserve where they have basically regrown into primary forest. And so here there's a lot to be seen in terms of wildlife, not like on the Osa. The Osa is like crazy, the amount of wildlife, but there's a lot of birds, also a lot of different amphibians. There's a lot of, we do have a lot of, for example, coatis, things of the sort. So we'll talk about what you'll be able to see there, but it's just to be, we call it forest bathing. So you basically go in and you just take in all this incredible green around you. It's quite healthy for your soul. So you'll see it now. You're seeing a lot of white probably in Canada. You're going to see a lot of green on this one.
So yeah, you get that, and this part of the cloud forest is in and of itself interesting because it's a unique climactic zone. If I've said that the right way, onto itself is what I understand.
Yes.
Is that right?
There's about 12 different ecosystems in the country, and so we'll be in one very specific one here. The cloud forest is different even from Savegri to here because of the elevations. It's different. It's almost where the tropical rainforest meets the cloud forest. So you'll see a variety, and as we go down south, as we go closer to ocean level, then you get full rainforest. So you'll really see a difference. And it's crazy in Costa Rica, within an hour, you can be in completely different ecosystems, completely different temperatures. It's really spectacular how that works.
Right down in elevation. And, as you say, when we go out of here, we go further down south. This is where we enter into the Osa and come down into Luna Lodge. Yeah.
The Osa is considered the most biologically intense place on Earth. And this is National Geographic saying this. It's one of the last remaining tract of lowland rainforest left in the Western Hemisphere. There's not many places where the ocean touches the rainforest. And so this is what you're going to see. And at Luna Lodge, we're at the end of the road. We're literally at the edge of Corcovado National Park. The animals know no boundaries. So we are going to be surrounded by tropical rainforest. Howler monkeys waking you up in the morning. Oh my God, the guests this year were like, just the first day they were woken up at 5:30 by the howlers. It was incredible. It was like a chorus. And so many birds. The accommodation, as you see here, you do have mosquito netting around your bed, but because of lizards, bats, birds, we don't have problems with mosquitoes. I have more mosquitoes at my sister's cottage in Canada, Renfrew, if anybody knows, than here in all of the Osa. So you're not going to be bothered by insects. And it's these beautiful thatched roof cabanas that are just so close to nature. You have beautiful washrooms. Oh, they're bungalows. Each and every one of you will get a bungalow. We also have hacienda rooms, and I'm usually in a tent there. You can always come visit me in my tent. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And, you mentioned all of the, the wildlife and the insects and all those critters and so on. And actually, I just noticed one of our members, Ardell, who's a frequent member, said that, I love to see all the birds and all the other wildlife, but not so much the snakes.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Snakes there too, but I don't know how they are in Costa Rica. Here in Thailand, you never see them. They're always sleeping during the day when we're out and about.
People think Indiana Jones when they think of like going to Costa Rica, but it's nothing like that. So you're not going to be putting your hand in creepy things and stuff. Snakes, yes, we're in the lowland rainforest. This is where we have snakes. That said, they're where they should be, and if you are fearful of them, you might call them, so they may cross your path in the evening. But this is why everyone has a headlamp. We never go off path. We don't put our hands or our feet where we don't see them. So this is some of the things we'll talk about when you get there, kind of 101 of how to be safe in the rainforest. But, in all honesty, I've been doing this trip for over 16 years on the Osa, and knock on wood, never had an issue with snakes with our guests or even other guests. What people have issues with snakes are like campesinos, that people are cutting the grasses, tall grasses, So do not fear the snakes. They are our friends. Do not fear insects. There are 10,000 species of them, but they don't want to bother you. And mosquitoes are eaten by everything else that are our friends there. So
nothing to worry about there.
Really, you'll see
it. Talk about Corcovado.
Corcovado National Park.
So it's actually a spelling error on our thing. I thought it might have been.
Yeah, that was written wrong. It's Corcovado. There's a switch in the letters. Corcovado is, again, one of the most important national parks. It's where you can see everything from as small as, insects to as big as tapirs, jaguars, pumas, ocelots, margays. We have the largest wildcat population in all of Central America. We have it here. We have, obviously, we have the sloths, three-toed, two-toed sloths. We have scarlet macaws, which are, really in abundance where we are. I mean, I told a guest this year, I said, if you don't see a macaw, I'll give you back your money for your trip. That's how serious, that's how certain I knew they were going to see them. We have toucans. We have so many variety species of birds, over 400 species of birds alone on the OSA. So it's incredible in terms of the diversity. So if you're into wildlife and like going to a zoo without cages, yet it's not dangerous because we're not on the menu. Definitely don't want to do this. Yeah.
And you're close to the sea down here as well. So explain a little bit about Bosque del Cabo.
So when we're at Luna Lodge, we're up into the rainforest, but we overlook the ocean. So we're about 300 feet above of sea level, more or less. And then we come down to the coast, and obviously we're very close to the ocean. So if you want to do a beach day, it's very easy. But one day we're going to go visit Bosque del Cabo, which is another lodge that's very, very impressive. This lodge is basically almost a natural reserve in itself. In the day when there was no national park, the animals almost figured out that property was a haven. It's a safe haven. So when you go there, you see so much incredible wildlife. I mean, some people have taken photos of pumas on their front porch, sitting there, literally. So when we go there, we're going to be at 300 feet above sea level again, right on the point. Bosque is forest, Cabo is point, so it's forest on the point. And here we're going to be seeing wildlife, doing an amazing trek, having an incredible lunch. Then I have a secret adventure for you, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, so you have to come and see it. But it's really one of our trips that I love doing and I love visiting. Like, if your guide and your host is this excited, this is how excited you should be as well for someone on the trip. Like, I love this trip. Incredible.
Tell us a little bit about the birding of itself. A couple of people stuck up their, put up their hands and said,
well, this is the scarlet macaw right here. Again, so to give you an idea, we have 500,000 species of plant and animals in Costa Rica. Half of that is on the OSA. Okay, so and if you compare that to the United States has only half of everything we have. And they have 200 times more land. We're the size of West Virginia. So it's like incredible. It's like going into the Coles Notes of the Amazon, okay? Because you have everything in a really compact area. So birds, for example, again, there's about 800 species of birds in all of Costa Rica. Over 400 of them are on the OSA. And so as we go in the mountains, you're going to see various species. And as we go down towards the coast, a whole other slew of species. So if you have a list, bring your list. You'll be ticking off a lot of boxes.
And what's involved in the birding? I mean, the birders will obviously know this, but I mean, for people who are interested in seeing all this wildlife and the birds and so on, I mean, I know I've been on various safaris and here and there, and it's like, the guy, the ranger is pointing it out to some bird, way up in the tree. Do you need binoculars, or is it like really up close and personal that you can practically?
Both. Sometimes the bird is very, very close, like this guy is to me right now. Sometimes it's very far and you have to have your binoculars. Often our guides that are birders have scopes. So for example, when we see the quetzal, because the quetzal loves to stay and almost like it kind of like shows off. So you can really have time to go look in the scope. So for those who are not birders, don't worry. It's not like we're going to be sitting there for 3 hours looking at birds. But that said, there's opportunities for those who do want to sit for 3 hours, like Batsu Gardens, when we're up into Savegre Lodge, or even at Savegre Lodge itself, there's areas where they have feeders where you can literally just sit there and look at birds. And on the OSA, same thing. You could sit at the pool, like people were sitting at the pool at Luna Lodge, literally just looking for birds, and they saw so many. So it's really unbelievable. And if you're a photographer, that's not even, you're gonna have a blast, really.
You're going to have a blast. Yeah, exactly. And so I know that one of the other highlights, and we put it in here as a bit of an option because it's a bit of a hike, is in Corcovado. We mentioned it again before, but tell us about that day and what people can expect from that experience.
Yeah, so this one is, you definitely have to be a hiker. You definitely have to be someone who's not afraid of heat, and you have to be not afraid of uneven elevations and uneven terrain. So it's about, as basically to get to the trailhead is about an hour. For some people, that's enough. And if that's enough for you, you go to the trailhead, you come back, we can make that happen. There's not an extra cost for that. You can just go with the guide. And then when those who continue in the park, you'll just get a drive back up. Those who want to go a little further, basically, you can go into the park as far in as you know that you have to come out. So if you go 2 hours in the park, you know you have 2 hours out, right? So most people go between 4 to 6 hours, from start to finish. If you were like, let's say some people can even go all the way to the ranger station, and we won't be doing that, but that's an 8-hour hike to the ranger station. And then people have to sleep within the park. In our case, we're just doing a day hike. What's great about this hike is it's a natural corridor. You have the ocean on one side and you have the mountain on the other. So it creates this natural corridor where all the wildlife is sort of pushed into that area. So it makes for a hike where you have chance of seeing pumas. We have chance of seeing tapirs. We have chances of seeing large families of coatis, which this is what you're seeing right here. It's basically our resident raccoons. They eat crabs, they don't eat garbage. So it's just a really interesting hike, and it's to add on your bucket list, really. If you're not someone who really wants to push their limits, on that day, for example, we'll be offering something else that you can do with us. So it's kind of one of those things where if you want to just add it to your bucket list and you feel like pushing yourself, definitely try it. Definitely try
I was going to say I think that's the key point is that, for some folks that will have had a huge fill of wildlife and stuff to see, you could take it as a quieter day, but for those who are really anxious, that's it's a wonderful, wonderful experience to enhance your trip, and also a little bit of time on the sea.
Yeah, exactly. We finished the trip actually with dolphin watching. So just 2 days ago, I was on the ocean. We saw a lot of dolphins. And what's great about this is you're on the Golfo Dulce, which is the deepest tropical fjord, one of the deepest tropical fjords in the world. And some people will say that's not even a term, and it's true. It's not. They've invented it because there's not that many. And so basically it goes deep, deep, deep. And in here we have whales, like humpback whales that come in. We have resident dolphins. We also have visiting dolphins. We have whale sharks that come in, but that's mostly in March. So you likely won't see those, but you will see dolphins. And we go around and we see this incredible biodiversity, from the ocean now. We're going to go snorkeling. So I had a few people this time, they're like, oh, I don't want to get my hair wet. Get your hair wet is what I say. Because we have cool fresh water on the boat. You can, and then you can change, and then you take your flight, and within an hour, you're at your hotel where you can take a full-on shower. So just enjoy, because the snorkeling is a lot of fun as well.
Absolutely. We had a question talking about the different wildlife and the whales that you might see. You never know with whales, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not there. One of our members, Ellen, asked about are there a chance to see blue whales? I don't think this is the area for blue whales.
No, not the area for blue whales. I've heard of blue whales coming though, but following the coast. So if you were, for example, when we go down towards the coast, the Baena National Park is right there. If you were to stop at the national park, which I don't believe we are doing, you would have a chance of seeing those. But even then, it's very, very unlikely.
Blue whales are really tough ones to see because they are quite rare, and yeah, exactly. So that's not something that's it's likely, but you never know. You might.
Unlikely, but hey, maybe if you come on the trip, you'll call them and they'll come visit us. You never know.
Exactly. So by the time all is said and done, you'll have spent 12 wonderful nights in Costa Rica and seen. And I think this is the key point that you made there is you can practically see that all that you could see, for example, in the Amazon rainforest, but in a more comfortable environment and closer to home. So it's an amazing trip. For those looking to extend a couple of days, we have a lovely deluxe resort lodge in Manuel Antonio. So this is a few hours drive further up the Pacific coast. And Manuel Antonio is a wonderful, it in of itself is a national park as well, I think.
Yeah, it is. And so it'll be kind of like a different vision for you, because it has one of the most beautiful beaches in there. You're definitely going to get friendly with animals. The animals over the years were stealing food from people. So now they're being very strict as to what you can bring in the park and stuff, but you'll see tons of wildlife up close there. Yeah,
exactly. So you get a chance to see more wildlife, or just hang out in a hammock by the beach and enjoy the wonderful facilities of this lodge. It is truly a great way to end a trip with a few luxurious days at the Arenas del Mar in Manuel Antonio. So yeah, just a few shots for you, and that's optional. That's an extension program that you may wish to do While you're there, as you say, head out into the mangroves. I recall them from my visit there. I mean, the mangrove is also one of the most incredible biological environments that you can go through, and you could see the person here on a paddleboard. I mean,
They're so
what a
important. They're so important. Mhm.
and also, to see a little bit of the plantations of the various spices, in particular vanilla, which is as we all know, a very expensive spice to grow.
You know
There's a few
why?
other ones.
Because the bird that used to pollinate the pod no longer exists. So that's why humans have to pollinate now to make vanilla.
There you go. You see, a little piece of trivia that you get also on
Full of those, my friends. Stay close to me if you want more trivia.
and you've got it all, and some very important facts as well. And also heading out at night is something you're going to do on the main part of the program as well. Absolutely, you got to go out to the rainforest at night, because that's when you see all the creatures that are just hiding away underneath somewhere during the day.
For the brave ones, you can come with us and explore at night.
So you can do that as well on the extension program in Manuel Antonio. So I'm just going to touch on some of the logistical information. Of course, all of this info is in your program itinerary that is going to be sent to you together with a copy of the replay of this webinar. So this is the official launch date. But just to give you a sense of what you're talking about, 67.90 Canadian, a relatively modest single supplement there, considering that in a lot of cases it's quite high. We don't have a lot of single rooms available on this trip just because these lodges are not so large. So we're a little bit limited there. If you are a solo traveler and want that, probably best to book very soon, because these lodges do sell out. And our group was largely restricted this year only because the rooms were not available anymore, and we had tons of inquiries a couple of months before the trip started, but by then these lodges are already sold out. So this is the type of thing you really need to do to plan in advance if you want to participate in this kind of an excursion. All of the inclusions shown on there, these lodges largely on a fully inclusive basis, meals, drinks. So please keep that in mind. When you look at the price
extra, just to be clear. Because we
Pardon me?
we have heavy drinkers in this group. Just saying,
No,
so local drinks, but if you want some alcoholic drinks, those are extra, just so you know, but I'll
okay, there you go. Okay, so alcoholic drinks in addition to that, but still, nevertheless, pretty much all inclusive, which is again a great way to travel because you don't have to think about that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about the overall tour price. Of course, only things you have to consider extra are the airfare, which we can help you facilitate, that hike into the Corcovado National Park, because it's a very special place. So they charge us an extra fee for that. And that's only for those who are up to it and wish to go. And of course, trip cancellation insurance. Then that extension program into Arenas del Mar Hotel in Manuel Antonio, which includes all the transfers and again, your breakfast there as well. So that's an optional add-on there for that, and all the other details you can find in the program itinerary as usual. I suspect we may have a few questions about all this. Here, the airfare, just to give you a sense of what it's all about. Again, this is one of those places, if you do book airfare sort of sooner than later, you can get a still pretty decent fare out of the major hubs in Canada into San Jose, and the routing will obviously depend on where you're flying from. And that pretty much wraps up our webinar. Apart from any questions that our members may have, I addressed a couple of them as we went along. Barb, did any other questions come in, or can you think of any other questions that that are commonly asked about this program?
Well, maybe just cover what sort of fitness level is sort of required.
Yes.
And if there's people that have different fitness level, how is that handled?
Okay, that's a great question. So in this group, for example, we had some that were expert, I would say, hikers, and then we had some people that really had difficulty with high elevations and sort of climbing stairs and this kind of stuff. So we actually had a variety. And so essentially the fitter you are in terms of just being able to walk on uneven terrain, bring a hiking pole. We're also, anyone who joins this group will be receiving an information pack of what to bring. And we'll be doing another one of these just for the group itself. And I'll be introducing you to all the bells and whistles you should bring with you to make your stay even better. But basically a walking pole is so important. Good walking shoes. But you have to be, a lot of the trails that we do are mostly flat. They have some incline and some decline, but never steep. Okay. And if it's steep, something steep for any reason, it wouldn't be a hike. But if it was like an area, let's say we're walking outside of a lodge and it's a steep, we always have a transfer options for people. So that's how we moderate that. And in terms of the hike, if we're always 2 guides at all times. So we go as fast as our slowest person. And then if that person is like, I want to go back, we split up, and then the one group keeps going and the other group comes back. So we don't, so for the hikers that are of easier for hiking, we will not be, hurting your experience, because you'll still have the opportunity to keep going. And those of you who are like, yeah, you know what, no thanks, I'm going back, we have that opportunity as well.
Yeah, so I think that nails the question there, is that it is open to a wide variety of people with different ability levels. That being said, as with most of our trips, we do really cater to people who are active, fit, and can get around. This is unfortunately not suited to those who are really mobility challenged. You just wouldn't enjoy it that much. So I think that's important to point out, but you don't have to be a marathon runner.
Like, ask yourself, can I climb 30 steps easily? And if the answer is yes, you have no problem.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. And what about when you're at the lodges? Like, if people want to sort of go off on their own, can they get up early and do any walking trails and stuff?
100%. Walking trails, we'd have to explain to you what it is, of course, and how to do it. You certainly can do a lot of your own exploration. You can even hire your own private guide if you want to do things off, our kind of organized thing, but we'll keep you plenty busy and have a lot of time for rest. But yes, people can certainly go and explore, like, or get up earlier, go look for birds, go look for things. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And you mentioned that it was the best sort of time to visit Costa Rica. So Martin, can you give an idea of how humid it is, or just rough temperature range at that time of year?
To give you an idea, so basically March is the hottest, driest month, and October is the wettest and coolest month. So we're going right in the middle. We're going right after the wet season, which means everything is lush. All the rivers are full, and it's still cool enough. We're not in that hot, dry period of the season. We're going to be going up into the mountains. At first, it can get pretty cool. It can get down to 9 degrees at night in Savegre. Once we get and it goes as high as in the 27 degrees. So it's a big range in Savegre. Once we get to Rio Chiripo, the range changes. It gets to about 15 degrees at night, which is the ideal temperature for sleep. This is why they say it's the most perfect weather on the planet. Goes up to in the 30s during the day, so you can be nice and warm and like swim in the pool and want to swim because you're hot, and then in the evening be perfectly comfortable at night for sleeping. And then we go into the rainforest where it gets a lot warmer. We're looking at a minimum, I would say 18 degrees, but even 20 degrees at night, but it feels cool because the day can be up into the 30s, high 30s. And for that, we recommend, for example, like I have this neck fan. I can show it to you. It's right next to me. Actually, I have to show you because it's so magical. It's my new best friend. This is my new best friend. It looks like earphones, and you can recharge it, and you can put it on, and you have constant air blowing. It's incredible.
Oh, cool.
Oh my God, some of those.
Put Amazon neck fan and then put Amazon Prime. It will be at your house within 24 hours. It's incredible. And so this is one of my best friends for hiking. And, you just plug it in. It lasts for 3 hours. You plug it in 1 hour, it lasts for 3 hours. But at night, it's cool. It gets cool. People actually want to wear a little bit of a blanket. So yeah, that's more or less.
Good. That's very good. Nice product plug there as well.
I know I should get a commission, but like this is what it is.
I want to get one. Yeah, perfect. Is that it for questions, Barb?
I think so. I think just one other one is, because you're at these exclusive lodges, if people have dietary requirements, is that catered to?
easy. It's actually easier to cater to. So we will be asking you that question when you join the trip. If you have any dietary restrictions, if you have any allergies, if there's something you absolutely don't eat, like let's say you're like, oh, I don't do garlic, that's fine. We will make sure, and in every lodge, they are more than happy to cater to your needs. Yeah, 100%. Vegan, vegetarian.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
think that's all that's come in. So people can call if they have anything else.
Yeah. Please do give us a call, drop an email. Paula Barb, always at your disposal to answer any questions about this trip. And as I say, this is the official release here. So, we expect some early bookers because we know that we've had some people anticipating the release of this for a while. So give it some thought. We hope you'll join us next year. Martine, as you can see, is the host extraordinaire in Costa Rica and has tons of experience. You cannot find a better trip through the bio.
Second that.
Biodiversity.
Second that motion.
Indeed.
And definitely
So,
book your spot sooner than later, Gordon. I'm gonna, because it's a small group and you definitely want to get on this trip. It's incredible.
Yeah, indeed. I want to thank you all. Thank you in particular, Martine, for joining us and sharing your experiences from this last trip. It is a magical place to visit. And I'm sure our members will be delighted to join you next year. And thank you all. We'll look forward to seeing you on next week's webinar. Stay tuned for the newsletter where we give you some details. We've got a bunch of webinars coming up in the next couple of weeks, and we're very excited to share those with you. And we'll catch you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.